Welcome to Heaping Spoonful, a twice-monthly conversation with restaurateurs, chefs, growers, and others who have helped generate the legends associated with eateries across the Mid-South. The team at Benny Keith is proud to sponsor this adventure with the goal of preserving the stories that have helped cultivate an amazing food scene across the Mid-South. So kick back and enjoy a Heaping Spoonful.
Hello, everybody out there in podcast land. I'm Kelly Bass, your host of Heaping Spoonful, where we visit with chefs and restaurateurs from some of the great eateries across the Mid-South. Well, let me tell you, I'm a foodie from way back before there was even a term called foodie. And in fact, I got the chance to review restaurants for Little Rock newspapers long before the internet gave everybody the chance to do the same thing. Our guest today on Heaping Spoonful is James Woods, the proprietor of Woods Place in Camden, Arkansas. And he's been in the restaurant business even longer than I've been writing about it, and now talking about it. So welcome to Heaping Spoonful, James. We're glad to have you.
Hey, glad to be here.
Cool. I was looking, doing a little internet research because we got ability to do that now. And I looked at your Facebook page, and you have more than 11,000 likes and more than 11,000 followers on Facebook. And that may not mean a lot to a lot of people, but let me tell you, I just went and looked at a very well-known, long-term Little Rock restaurant that's won a lot of awards from Arkansas Times, just as your restaurant has, and you've got more than twice as many as that restaurant has. So there's lots of people loving you. And your most common Facebook post, naturally enough, and what I'd be looking at, somewhere near Camden, is the daily lunch special, which I'm sure is a major draw. Not that you don't have a huge and varied regular menu, but it's all about the lunch special for many people, including me. Has it always been a lunch special focused kind of restaurant?
Well, at lunch it has been. We've always kind of, before the farm to table movement happened, we were bringing in fresh vegetables and having different gardeners grow food for us, and so 30 years ago we were doing that. And in fact, one time we had an official from the health department say, "You can't be buying produce from these little farms, and it's not certified, it's not that." And so anyway, there was a time when it was like, can we even do this? And but of course we contacted Little Rock, and that was taken care of very quickly.
Good. Well, and I'm sure, again, it all used to be farm to table back in the day before they figured out you could freeze something in California and stick it on a truck and drive it across the country. And in the part of the world that you're from, there's lots of good things being grown down that way for sure.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, I just kind of looked back through about a week's worth of lunch specials, and the variety and frankly, the creativity is really impressive. I mean, some places can get in a rut, and and again, I'm a home cooking guy along with other stuff, but they can get kind of in a rut. Mm-hmm. So I just looked back at some of the specials from just the last week, and these are a few of the items that struck me. So I'm going to ask you about them, and if you just give me a few words about these, and I'm going to start with the meats, because I always think of meat and 2 or meat and 3.
Right.
So I saw that, I think yesterday, one of the specials was baby back ribs. Do you guys make those, and are they pretty fall off the bone good?
They really are, and we have a rotisserie charcoal-fired smoker out here that it really does a good job. And, baby back ribs are just easy to work with, and people love them.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And I one thing I didn't ask about or look about was what the general price for a plate lunch, a daily plate lunch.
Oh,
vary based on what you order?
Yeah, no, it's about $10 with tax and everything, and you get a dessert, homemade dessert, and 3 vegetables and the meat. But
man, whew.
Yeah.
I know it. Every time
we used to rely on cookbooks to thumb through and find different ideas, and now Facebook has just opened up a whole new world of stuff. So we
Sure.
every now and then we throw something unusual out there that we found. So, hey, that sounds good, but it's really made life a lot easier in the restaurant business.
Right. I also see that you had house smoked turkey breast. I guess that's right there on the same machine that makes the ribs.
That's right. Yeah, very good. I tell you what.
That sounds good. And then my wife and I've become big fans of some dishes that we cook with boneless, skinless chicken thighs, which haven't been around as long as their breast cousins. But I saw that you had home-style fried boneless chicken thighs, and that sounds fabulous.
Yeah. And I had 3 or 4 comments yesterday on it. We really hadn't been having that much. We just kind of stumbled on it, and it. I mean, they're so moist, and a lot of positive comments on that. So definitely going to be doing some more of that.
And then I saw you do something that my mother did when I was a kid that used to stink up my kitchen, which is salmon croquettes. But man, those things can be crunchy and good. Is that something you all been doing a long time?
We have been, and I tell you what, people like macaroni and cheese with good macaroni and cheese with salmon croquettes. So that's kind of a go-to thing too.
Good. And then I saw kraut with Polish sausage and ham. So I love that you got sausage and ham. So like one meat's not quite enough on that.
That's right. And, a lot of the things that I put on the lunch special are things that I like personally. So it's like, that's what I want to have today. So it kind of helps too.
Hopefully somebody else will like to have it too. And then I saw whole catfish fiddlers, and I'm not sure what a fiddler is.
Well, a fiddler is just a whole, about a 9-ounce fish that the head's cut off, and it's just, you get the whole thing. People that are into catfish steaks really like that whole fiddler, and it's definitely a segment of the population that likes it, and it's not for everybody, but the ones that like it love it.
Yeah, there's a famous catfish place in Little Rock, and the fillets are great, but I go for the steaks. Mm-hmm. Just got to watch the bones, and it's not hard.
Anything where the bone is, it's better.
Yeah, I agree. And then I saw a couple or 3 more that I think were on the weekends, which you had a baked salmon, you had a 8-ounce charcoal grilled steak, and jumbo peeled boiled shrimp. So that's pretty upscale for a plate lunch.
Well, well, our plate lunch on Sunday, that was a Sunday lunch, and so we do. We charge a little more on Sunday, and we have a really loyal Sunday lunch crowd that appreciates us stepping up our game on Sunday. So we do have a nicer plate lunch on Sunday. We have a dessert cart with about 20 different types of desserts, and we push that around. And we just kind of have a little more fun with it on Sunday, and we really draw the crowds in too. Price isn't so much a factor. They really want quality.
Yeah, everybody spars a little bit on Sunday, particularly. Yeah, I saw, I look at TripAdvisor and stuff, and everybody basically was saying, if you want to have lunch, you better get there a little early, because if you walk up there at noon, you're going to have a hard time getting a seat, which is the ultimate compliment for a restaurant. So that's ridiculous.
Except for during the pandemic, it's like, oh gosh.
Oh, I know.
And the direct crowd.
You can only put in a certain percentage of folks, and people are skittish, and understandably so. And so for those who are, and we'll talk about this a little more later, but for those who are listening, and hopefully you're listening years from now, but we're recording this on the last day of July of 2020. So I'll give you a little frame of reference, and we'll get around to talking about that in a minute. But now back to the food. So I saw deviled egg potato salad, and I love deviled eggs, and I love potato salad. Is that just a different type of egg you use in the salad? It
is. We actually make the eggs like we're going to do a deviled eggs, and just mix it in with our normal yellow type potato salad, kind of doctored up more, but it goes good with the ribs.
You do something that I've never, and every time I do one of these, it's not a Little Rock restaurant, because I live in Little Rock. I go home and go, you know what, honey, we're going to Memphis, or we're going to Mississippi, or now I'm going to go, we're going to Camden. And my friend Rex Nelson, I shot him a note, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm a big fan of Wood's Place." So he's a Arkansas food legend. Loves around eating. So
he's got more information in his head than all that. That's amazing.
We're about the same age, and he grew up in Arkadelphia, and my best friend I met at camp was from Gurdon, and their parents were friends. So I've known Rex since high school. That's pretty cool, and that's been a while. So you do fried green tomatoes, and I think those are hard to get right. What's the key to making?
Well, to me, you don't want them too thick. They've got to be almost thin, but not paper thin. And we mix cornmeal and a little seasoned flour and sugar, and and just keep it real simple. Fry them up crisp.
Yeah.
You don't want them soggy. It's not something I think that really holds up good in a to-go box, but it,
right.
people, they do get them to go, but it's just, I think it's better dining in on that, but.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I've had some that are thick enough and the batter's falling off and they're kind of crunchy and they're just not good. And tell me about what an Italian salad is. I saw that one.
Oh gosh, it's just olives and Italian dressing and different kinds of kind of like an olive mixture, and we toss that in the salad, and it's one of my favorites. I kind of like to have that with spaghetti and meat sauce and that sort of lunch plate.
Mm-hmm. And then I see Dutch crust sweet potato casserole. Now, tell me what a Dutch crust is.
Oh, it's just brown sugar and butter baked on top of the sweet potatoes, and it's
well, that can't be bad.
Yeah. Anytime you got butter, bacon involved, everything's good.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. And then I saw very green beans. Are they very green? Are they very bean? Or
that's a Benny Keith thing, and they're best green beans. That they're just so green too. I mean, they're just a really uncanny green color to them. That's that's another thing when we serve. It's just like everybody comments on how good they are. So it's.
Well, I'm gonna have to ask Rusty about that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Get me some.
And that's what they're labeled VRI green beans when they come to you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I saw something that's, again, creative and certainly not common at home cooking spots, which is Asian vegetable stir fry. So that sounds tasty. Tell me about what that is.
Well, we just do the old Asian rice dish and throw in some grilled chicken and peas and whatnot. But my chef back here in the kitchen, it's been with us for like 35 years. He's really good. I can say, here's a recipe. What do you think? Oh, that's no problem. And I've never seen him say, I don't want to do that. He can do anything. And it's just nice to have somebody back there that's got a positive attitude that likes to be
sure.
Things too.
Yeah. Well, the front of the house and back of the house is both really important. So, and having a guy that's been cooking for you for 35 years, I mean, people know what they're going to get when they get there. And I bet you've got some servers who've been with you a while as well.
We really have. We've got, I was 23 when I started, and I'm 60 now. So it's like, I don't know where to start, but the people are, my employees are great. Most of them have been here for 25 and 30 years, and we like to have a good time. We're not bean counters in here. We're not. We're more. We want to know our employees and our customers, and we want to have a good time. And we try to do that, because coming to work every day, you just got to have that right attitude to make things work right, I think, and we seem to.
And you better like coming to work, or it gets real old real fast.
That's right.
And clearly, you take good care of your people, and that's. But when I say people, I mean your employees and also your customers. So that's the hallmark of a long-standing restaurant. When I looked, the first 2 TripAdvisor reviews that I read of Wood's Place mentioned that right when they sat down, out came a basket of rolls and hush puppies, and they must be pretty special if that's something that. I mean, first off, they appreciate the gesture and the food because they're hungry. But you must make some good rolls and hush puppies.
I tell you, we do. We make our own rolls, yeast rolls, and we make our own hush puppies. And we're not. I've given our hush puppy recipe to several restaurants in the state, and one of which is kind of more well known for their hush puppies than I am, and I'm the one who gave them their recipe. But anyway, we like to help other restaurants too. I mean, we've always been that way, and it's always been a positive thing for us.
Sure. Well, I mentioned, and I won't mention the name of a famous catfish place here where I get steaks but their side items are nothing. I mean, they're right out of a bag. I mean, and I'm like, God, it's not that hard to make a from scratch French fry or from scratch hush puppy.
And when I go in a catfish restaurant, which I don't do a lot, but when I see tartar sauce in a package, I just want to get up and leave, because I know they're cutting corners on everything else. Few things have to be homemade to be to make you special, and tartar sauce, coleslaw cut fresh, all the simple things, really. And they're simple, but everybody.
They're labor intensive, but they're not that hard to do if you just do it.
Exactly right.
So, obviously people brag about the fried catfish, and that's an Arkansas staple. Are there any big secrets to good catfish, or is it just get a good quality fish, batter it up, and fry it when they order it?
Well, we do buy our catfish fresh, and we go to the source and get it in Mississippi. And we have for 30, 36, 37 years, and that's just kind of what we do. And I don't know that anybody really does fresh catfish. It's harder to deal with, and us driving over there ourselves, bringing it back packed in ice is it's just a little bit better product. I have a lot of friends that are in the catfish business. They say you can't tell the difference, but I think there's a little difference.
Oh, I've talked to folks who can tell you the difference in fresh and frozen.
That's right.
And I mean, and again, just taking that extra step to make sure that it's good. That's why you're rocking and rolling after 37 years. So, of course, Wood's Place was a catfish restaurant before you bought it. So, that's not. But buying this restaurant is not what I'm told from your website. Is what brought you to Camden, and it was to manage a Golden Corral or
exactly right. I was kind of doing a little summer job in college, and I was going around Golden Corral Steakhouse chain, letting managers go on vacation, and they dropped me here in Camden. And I was having a great time doing it, but dropped me here in Camden, and I was here for about 2 weeks, and the management came in and they fired the manager and said, "Well, you're the new manager." And I said, "Well, hey, I didn't sign on for this. I'm supposed to be going around the country having fun doing this sort of thing." And
right.
And I was, I didn't know about Camden. It had the paper mill smell going on, and I just like, oh no, I don't know if this is what I want to do. But before I knew it, I kind of fell in love with Camden. And Rusty Mathis came to Camden the same time I did. He opened up the Holiday Inn hotel.
Yeah.
It was a real nice hotel that just opened up, and he was the manager. And we're the same age. And but anyway, ended up falling in love with Camden and met my wife here, and it's just now it's home.
Never left, yeah. Well, so where? So you were traveling around. Where are you from, and where did you?
Well, I'm from Far City. Went to school at Fayetteville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in Arkansas. It's not like they dropped you in here from Massachusetts.
That's right. I've lived, both all corners of the state. And I have friends all over the state, and we actually cater. I've got a job. Catering's kind of picking back up a little bit, and anyway, we got a job in North Little Rock next week, and we just get all over the state really. So we have friends everywhere, and sometimes I call on them to help me. Hey, I'm going to be in your town. I expect you to be there. Such and such time.
I'm going to bring some good catfish with me too. So how did you first get involved with, was the Golden Corral experience your first restaurant experience, or how did that go?
Oh, no. I worked for a guy named Don Edmondson in Far City when I was about 15, and he had a nice Holiday Inn right on the interstate. And Don owned Kentucky Fried Chickens in the beginning in the 60s and was kind of the first to get in with Taco Bell deal. And anyway, was a great mentor for me, and I've always been appreciative of Don Edmondson because I could call him anytime, ask him any question, and he was just always there for me on advice and that sort of thing. And I think it's nice to have that in the food business. People have got experience. Call them up and ask them something sometime. I'm glad to give you information.
Well, you're sharing your hush puppy recipe, so you're passing it on as well.
That's right.
All right. We thank everybody for listening to this episode of Heaping Spoonful with our guest, James Woods, owner of Woods Place in Camden, Arkansas, one of the state's truly legendary restaurants. So everybody hang on just for a minute, and we'll be right back.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of Heaping Spoonful. We at Benny Keith Foods enjoy talking about the food scene almost as much as we enjoy providing the top quality ingredients that help restaurateurs and chefs across the Mid-South create their magic. Now let's dive even deeper into the culinary world with your host, Kelly Bass.
All right, welcome back to Heaping Spoonful. I'm Kelly Bass, your host on this podcast, and I'm visiting today with James Woods of Woods Place in Camden, Arkansas. So you're a 7-day-a-week lunch and dinner operation? You don't do breakfast, do you?
No, we don't. We kind of open at 11, but I'm one of these guys that, if we're here at 8:30 in the morning, somebody comes in and they want something that we can fix, I don't believe in the open and close signs, what I'm trying to say.
Well, I know, but
if we're here, we're going to...
I don't know. I don't know if I'd broadcast that. But 7 days a week, you've obviously had a good team, because that's a full, there's no time, no rest for the weary, for sure. Is dinner, I've talked a lot about lunch and those lunch specials on the Facebook page, Grab Meat. Is dinner just as big a deal, and do you do specials at night too?
Yeah, well, we just have our regular menu at night, but we've kind of got a pretty big menu, hamburgers to chef salads and such, and ribeyes, and, well, just the whole 9 yards. But it's kind of a more simple menu, but the variety's pretty good.
Yeah, I saw that. I see shrimp prominently featured. Is shrimp a pretty big seller for you?
Yeah, we get that Benny Keith Gulf shrimp, 16 to 20 count, and butterflied ourselves, and we have, of course, boiled shrimp and fried shrimp's a big hit. And the fried shrimp's really big on catering too. That they love it. There's not many places you can go and have an all-you-can-eat fried shrimp experience with shrimp that are that large, and so catering is really likes the shrimp too.
Yeah, I can see that. Are there other dishes that are on your main menu that are big hits? I'm sure burgers, steaks, but are there any that are like other than catfish, kind of your bell cow items?
I would think that, and I never really thought we'd get into quesadillas and that sort of thing, but we sell a lot of fish tacos and grilled shrimp tacos and quesadillas. Yeah. But, I think everybody has to kind of be involved a little bit, dabbing in the Mexican thing, and it's worked out real good for us. And
quesadillas are fast and good and cheesy, and I was just with a friend who had some lunch yesterday, and they're hard to beat. I see homemade fried pies. Your menu says desserts as in plural, but it looked like to me that homemade fried pies is the dessert. Do you make those?
Yeah,
or somebody in Arkansas. So many good Arkansas.
Kind of a play on words, right? Homemade, but they're homemade over in Prescott, Arkansas. The flywheel pie.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Makes a real good fried pie. You just can't beat them.
I had a friend.
And those ladies over there.
Yeah.
They are actually making those on a table and crimping the sides with a fork, and it's
I know you're the
neat
second person on Heaping Spoonful to tell me that story of being there and watching them just sitting around that table making fried pies. Hey, I'm a big believer. That is a homemade fried pie by the Flywheel people, and why try to recreate brilliance if it's right there available from you?
Right.
And it sounds like, made from scratch is something that you do in every case that's possible and feasible.
It really is. We cut our own cabbage for our slaw, and we, just, the whole 9 yards, make our hush puppies, make our rolls, our tartar sauces, where people love our tartar. Sometimes they say more than they do anything else. And, but it's just the simple things, like we said.
Yeah. Well, it's just a commitment to excellence is really what it is. So are there other factors? I've mentioned that you obviously take good care of your people because you've got 30 plus year chef, 30 plus year, I'm sure 30 plus year customers. Are there any other factors that you would point to say why you've been successful?
I would think friends and family have been a big help also. You just you got to fall back into the family so much on when somebody doesn't show up. So, that is if you're in the business, everybody knows that's part of it. And the other thing is, people help you. They love to help, especially younger people when they're starting out. And I had a lot of people that helped me, whether it was, some tech giants that have passed on now, but they liked the idea of this guy doing a catering business and made sure that we worked for their company. And we had a international paper company was here, and it went out of business, and we thought that was the end of the world. Well, all those guys that worked at that paper mill that were my friends moved all over the United States and became mill managers and executives for IP or different companies. And now we went and catered all over the country to their places. Yeah. So you just can't.
I read about one in New York, right?
Yeah, that
You've
was
gone to New York.
That was a friend that was here at one time and went to New York. So it's just, the more people you meet and they take care of you and you take care of them, and it's just it just grows and expounds. And
sure,
it's kind of been our story on that.
I mean, catering is a big deal for you, right? I mean, it takes the walls away. I mean, I don't have to come. But I don't have to come to Camden to enjoy your food because I can go where you're catering. So I'm sure mostly is Arkansas, but obviously you've gone to New York. But not to get into your trade secret too much, but what percentage of your business is catering versus what you serve right there in Camden?
Well, I would say it's probably half. Yeah,
that's great.
Probably half. Yeah, but it.
And so you.
But I tell you, the thing about catering, and I don't mind telling other restaurants this, is that it gets you out of the restaurant. And if you're going to be in this thing for the long term, and just running an operation, I'm not talking about doing a chain or anything, but it really it opens up your world where you're not stuck between those four walls, like you said, and you just you enjoy working in the business a whole lot more. You get to meet these people from all different kind of places and all different kind of backgrounds, and it's just it's made being in the restaurant business worthwhile to me, and probably why I stayed in it for so long, because it just catering is enjoyable.
Yeah, and so you got. Well, I read you have 4 catering trailers, and I guess they're fully equipped kitchens that you put on site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
are those? I mean, I guess there's some place that you buy those from. I mean, I guess obviously that's a business. So
yeah, well, I buy the
spec out what you,
and then I bring them to my local guy here that outfits it for us and kind of done it for years. And
right, when you go on a pretty good sized catering job, I mean, how many folks does it take to make all that happen?
Oh, it just we did one for 5,000 people one time, and we had to have the food companies let us borrow their trucks, and you look at a big semi truck that's completely full of food that you've got to cook and make it into these meals for this 5,000 people. That's kind of a scary thought, but
that's definitely cooking at scale. That's cool.
Yeah.
So I know that when again we've said earlier that we're right at the end of July 2020, and I guess about mid-March is when Arkansas and a lot of the United States realized we had a bad situation on hand with the COVID-19 pandemic. So you shut by state health department guidelines. Right. You shut down for in-house dining. But were you able to keep those catering trailers going to cook for people that wanted to come pick it up?
Well, for probably about 3 weeks, we just completely closed down. And, we took everything out of this restaurant. Scrubbed it. It was really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to clean as deep as we did. And so anyway, it was kind of a blessing in disguise that we got that accomplished, and
sure.
And we replaced some equipment, did some different things, and then we started, thinking about how we're going to restructure this deal, and we ended up going with the drive-through. We took our trailers out, because my whole thing about a catering vehicle selling plates is somebody's got to get out of their car, walk up to your truck, place an order,
right.
And it's very time-consuming involved. So you can't really do volume like I wanted to do. And so anyway, we set up out in a huge parking lot. We had a tent. We had a drive-through with lanes, and the people would come up there, kind of like at Chick-fil-A or something. And we would
sure.
We had about 3 or 4 items they could choose from, and we handed it to them hot right there. There was no waiting or downtime, and it did real well. And we did. We went to El Dorado and different towns nearby. And,
Good.
and
so you could take it on the road since you had the catering trailers.
Right, and it was a big help. It really got us through the pandemic in flying colors, because
Sure.
we were able to do volume like we've never seen before.
Right, and people were like so eager to have something like that versus what they're going to get at a fast food drive-through, So that's cool. Good. Well, listen, I really appreciate your time today, James. Continue good luck in all you do at Woods Place, and also what you're doing on the road with your catering. And you're truly a treasure in Arkansas, and I'm glad that folks realize that. So, and thanks to all of you out there for listening to this episode of Heaping Spoonful. Let me just remind you, we put these up every other Tuesday. So go wherever you get your podcasts, check out the ones you've missed, and keep an eye out for new ones. Goodbye, everybody.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Heaping Spoonful. On behalf of all of us at Benny Keith Foods, Mid-South Division, please know how much we love connecting you with the legends of the culinary scene and their unique stories. I look forward to the next time we can offer you another Heaping Spoonful.